Good evening and welcome to the Residence Life Questions and Answers Parent Connection webinar that we have this evening. My name is Cynthia Batchelor, and I think some of you have actually met me in person. And we also have with us tonight Sean Van Gilder from Residence Life, and he's going to be taking your questions and going over a number of details with Residence Life.
Good evening.
So a couple of things before we get started is to let you know that there are some housekeeping things I need to address. First of all, if you called in by phone, please make sure that you're on mute and that also that you're not logged in by both phone and through your speakers and audio in your computer. As if that's the case, you may get some echoing and some technical difficulties. The other thing is for this, the duration of this webinar, the format is you guys will all be muted and we will be speaking. So in the event that you have any trouble hearing us or anything like that, please click the raise your hand and I will address you individually in the chat feature. And another item I would like to point out is that you can ask questions throughout this presentation. Now, one of the things about the questions that I'd like you to keep in mind is that this is a general forum. There are several of you with us tonight, so we wouldn't be able to answer questions specific to your individual student's account or specific situation. If you want to ask a hypothetical question that could have to do with your student's situation, and that's for the benefit of all, that is helpful for everybody. But if you do have an individual question, what you can do is after the presentation, Sean will provide his contact information so that you can contact him individually and go from there. During the presentation, we will take questions, but what we'll probably do is take the questions at the end of each slide. So I'm serving as the moderator, and I will see your questions and provide those questions to our presenter, Sean. Okay, and with that, I am going to introduce myself to those of you that may not have met me. Here's a picture of myself. I am the Assistant Director for Alumni and Parent Relations. I started back in September and I took over this Parent Connection webinar series. Stephen Kabacek, who is now a Development Officer, he developed this webinar series. And like I said, I've taken it over. The purpose of this is to provide our parents with connections to resources on campus, information, and another venue for you guys to stay connected to the university. My role as the Assistant Director for Alumni and Parent Relations is to connect you to your resources on campus. So, anytime you have a question or concern and you're not sure which department might be able to help you with that, you're welcome to give me a call and I will refer you and connect you to the person that our staff member or our resource that can best assist you based on your question or concern. Okay, and just a little bit about me. I am a step parent. I have two beautiful stepdaughters. So one is 15 in the ninth grade, and the other is 12 in the seventh grade. And they're my joy. And I also have two dogs and two cats. So I keep pretty busy. And that's enough about me. And I am going to now have Sean introduce himself to you all, our presenter. And thank you so much, Sean, for being here tonight.
No problem. Good evening. My name is Sean McGelder. I am the Director of Residence Life at St. Leo University. A little bit about myself as a history is I am a alumni through and through, both undergraduate and graduate. Um, we're doing healthcare management and a master's in business administration. Uh, so I'm truly an alum and truly have a passion for St. Leo University, and was fortunate enough for my alma mater to employ me. Additionally, I worked as an undergraduate student here in the Office of Residence Life as an RA and worked my way all the way up to where I currently am. So I've served in a number of different roles with the university, um, as a student all the way to professional staff, to where I am currently as a director. So I currently live on campus right now with my wife and my 2-year-old daughter. We live in one of the apartments right alongside with our students here on campus. So I'm here 24/7. This is my home, and I really love being around and being interactive with the students and doing things around campus. So whether it's attending soccer games, to going to Greek events, to showing up to any sort of activity that goes around on campus, that is something that you'll see me throughout, whether it's with my daughter or with family or just me by myself. You can find me anywhere around campus. But enough about me. We'll go ahead and get started into the presentation to get you guys and everybody the information that they were here, and hopefully answer any questions that we have through this process about residence life. So kind of discussion topics for what we're going to be covering in the next couple minutes will be the role of the Residence Life Office, who the staff are, what different levels, and everything along those lines. The nitty-gritty of what Residence Life actually does, so what our actual role and job function is here on campus. And then what we hope parents' role in the transition to their son or daughters living on campus. So what role we want you guys to help out with to make their transition a success, so they can be a contributing member to the community. And then kind of a brief overview of commonly asked questions, some things that we always get as general information so that everybody's on the same page and knows where to get some of the basic information from regarding our office. The role of the Residence Life Office. Obviously, we have a business structure as far as the mission, vision, departmental objectives. Overall, the mission for the university and the Residence Life Office coincides. Our office is here to intentionally foster a safe, collaborative, and inclusive living community that will promote students' academic and personal growth in accordance with the core values. The core values are a very staple part of the university, and we hope to instill that in everybody's life so they're able to use that as a value base to make decisions on. The vision for the office, we're here to really provide quality programs and services to help students and residents develop lifelong critical thinking skills in a way that will help them grow both in the classroom and outside the classroom, which is where we primarily are coming into play, is outside the classroom. And then some objectives that the office has is developing and invested in a vibrant community. So we really want residents to be making this our home. This has turned into my home, and I really have a passion and love for this campus, and really try to show that in everything that we do, and hope that any student that goes through us takes that and is able to see that. As well, we want to make sure that there's an integration of academic and social learning through different quality-based programs around our core values. The Office of Residence Life has a programming model that is based right around the core values that our RAs have to meet, so that all programs have some sort of core value base behind them and are not just done to be done. Additionally, we're here to provide quality housing, facilities, and service to promote an atmosphere that is home, a home away from home in essence. We also want to embrace technology, enhance the services that we're able to provide, and help students and residents understand where technology plays a role in everyday life, from the classroom to outside the classroom to social media, and learning those pieces so that they'll be able to be successful once they graduate and leave from here and move on with their careers. And then we also want to make sure that students understand policies and procedures for an educational purpose, for accountability, that there is policies, there is regulations, there is laws that are in place that need to be upheld, as well as followed, so that students understand that they are accountable for what they do and that decisions do have a consequence, whether it's good or bad. So that is another piece that we really try to make sure that students are educated upon before moving on. Okay, meeting the staff. We have a number of different student staff here on campus. Our first tier is the RAs, our resident assistants, who are undergraduate peers, usually a upper class when it's in the freshman halls, and then a peer, actual peer when you get into the upper class areas. These are undergraduate students who are identified as leaders and hired through our office. Each one is responsible for their own floor, and it will range from anywhere between 15 to almost 40 residents per RA, depending on the building and the area that they're in. But each RA is required to do programming, help out with any transition issues within the halls, help out students and the residents in any of their needs that they have while they're here on campus, and serve as a resource and a liaison to kind of help connect those residents with whatever else is going on campus, as well as different staff members and faculty that are here to assist in different ways and roles. Our RADs, or our resident assistant directors, are a higher level student position. They're also undergraduate students, however they are returning RAs that will oversee a group of 6 to 10 RAs, and they will usually typically oversee an area, so which will consist of usually 2 buildings throughout. So if it's freshmen, it would be Marmion Snyder or Henderson Benoit. It's 2 different areas that are identified. And the RADs serve as a leadership role for the RAs, so that's a resource for them, as well as any resident that's there can go to the RAD to help answer any questions that they have. If they're experiencing any difficulties or issues with the RA, they're able to go to them as well as the professional staff, which we'll get into next. And our next level is our graduate assistants. Our graduate assistants are graduate students who also live on campus. They are also in the halls. We have one in Henderson, one in Marmion, and one in Benoit. So we have 3 graduate assistants that work through the Office of Residence Life and serve in leadership roles as well for that part, as well as a resource for students and residents here on campus. And then getting into the professional staff, we have myself as the Director of Residence Life living on campus with my family. We have our Associate Director, KJ McConnell, who did the webinar last year for us, who also lives on campus with her dog Wrigley. We have Regina Seguin, who is our Assistant Director of Residence Life, who also lives on campus with her husband and 2 little ones. And then we have a new staff member that will be joining us in June, Kristen Whitney, who will be also living on campus and residing there, who will be getting married here in October. So her husband will be joining us at that point and going from there. In addition to the professional staff that I had just mentioned directly from the Residence Life office, we have our Assistant Vice President, Anna DiDonato, who lives on campus, our Associate Vice President, Kenneth Posner, who lives on campus, and our Vice President, Dr. Ed Dedez, who also lives on campus. So there's a number of professional staff who live on campus and serve in the different roles to help and assist students and be here for their needs and to watch out and help out for them during their time here. Additionally, leadership and employment opportunities there's a number of Residence Life positions that are available within the Office of Residence Life, as well as the leadership role of an RA. Once a student has completed 2 semesters living on campus and they can maintain a 2.5 GPA or above, they will be eligible to become an RA. We have RA information sessions that go on throughout the course of the semester and the year that students can find out more about that information. You can visit our website under important dates for fall 2014 and spring 2015 and actually see those dates and schedules as to when and where they will be. And that's already posted for everybody. So let your son or daughter know about that and encourage them to attend one of those meetings if they have an interest in becoming an RA. And then there's plenty of other opportunities for leadership and getting involved on campus from there. But moving on to what we actually do, our office does a number of different pieces So residence life encompasses a number of aspects, from housing and room assignments, where this housing selection process is online, that we are able to accommodate any different pieces that students need. The application is there, so incoming students will need to complete that, as well as the roommate matching preferences, so they are able to find roommates in the system and then request each other that way, so that the system is able to either pair them, or they're able to find each other and secure a roommate in that way prior to their arrival, which we truly do encourage, because students matching with themselves really has been one of the most beneficial pieces that we see for student success and student happiness and satisfaction when they're here on campus. In addition to housing and the selection process and roommate and room changes, everything like that, we have community development. This comes into where we do a lot of different programming, whether it's directly from the Office of Residence Life as a large-scale community program to just a hall community program put on by the RA. We really kind of tie in to do all different pieces. So there's a number of different events going on that we try to reach out to all different types of students to allow them to have an opportunity to get involved in something in another way, or in one way or the other. In addition to that, our office also handles the student conduct, so accountability. If a student is found in an incident where they are potentially violating a code of conduct policy or procedure or law or anything along those lines, they will end up going through our office to be held accountable for whatever the action was, or determine if they actually did violate a policy or not. So we kind of go through that process here in the Residence Life office. Additionally, we also handle any sort of roommate mediations and room changes. So once the semester starts up and we go through that process, students are able to come to the Office of Residence Life, request room changes if they're not satisfied with what's going on, where they're at, or anything along those lines, and we will accommodate to the best of our abilities. As well as we try to educate and teach students the life skills that they need through the roommate mediations, is how to interact and talk with your roommate about issues that are going on. And this way students are able to learn that type of skill, so when there's something else going on in their personal lives that they need to deal with when they're out of here and moved on to bigger and better things, they're able to have those skills necessary to have that conversation and go from there. Additionally, we also have meal plan assignments, so anything to do with the meal plans as far as assigning, changing, we handle. If it goes back down to what's available in the dining hall, that would actually be through our dining services. Our dining services is a great opportunity. Again, I live here on campus, so I go to it every day, 2 or 3 times a day typically. So I'm in here eating the same food that students are. So they are able to accommodate a number of different needs, but when it comes down to actually assignments and the billing process part of it, that goes through the Office of Residence Life. And last but not least is facility management. We outsource our facility management through a vendor, Sodexo, who has served us very, very well over the past couple of years, and we have a very tight-knit relationship with them and their management staff. However, if a student has any sort of issues in their halls and they've submitted a work ticket, they can please feel free to contact our office so that we can help follow up and escalate the situation to make sure that's resolved in a timely and satisfactory manner. So. Okay, parents' role. And this is, again, what we were hoping that you will take advice and run with us to support our endeavors to making sure that students and residents are able to develop those life skills that are essential to being successful outside of here. We really want you guys to be giving advice to your son or daughter at any time that you can on any information. With that said, check in with them, see how they're doing. But understand as time goes and they begin to become more independent and grow as an individual, those contacts will become less. But make sure that you do continue to check in and ask, how's this going? Have you followed up with them? Have you asked this question? But really encourage them and advocate for them to do the things themselves. And that kind of goes into the next section of advocate and encouragement, is we want you guys to play a role in pushing your son or daughter to be forthfront and forthcoming about what's going on. Communicate. If there's issues with their roommate, which is one of the typical things that we deal with, especially as a first-year student, have they talked to their roommate? Not sent them a text, but actually talked with them in person. Ask them about turning down the AC or turning up the AC. And if the answer to that is no, then encourage them to talk with them. Explain how to talk with them so that they can go into that conversation and make it a successful, positive endeavor for both parties, and that will help to strengthen their relationship with their roommate and go from there. Additionally, we want to really encourage students to become more independent. As they leave and graduate from college and take their next steps in their lives to become a professional and move into their careers, that independence is a necessity to be successful. Again, it's being there to support and advocate for them, but encourage them to do things on their own. If you need and feel the need to step in, please do so. Please don't hesitate to. However, make sure they've at least attempted and pushed to do something, and that you're here to just support them through that process. So we really, again, my door is always open, so I really strongly encourage students to come in and talk with me if they have an issue and are uncomfortable with talking with anybody else, because I understand that part, and I really do have a passion for helping students grow as an individual, and really wanting to see them become more independent and develop those skills and go through that process. And then last, going into it, is we want your student to be successful. We want them to develop those skills and develop those attributes that will help them in their careers as they go forward. So we really do want students to be successful in everything and anything they do. So if you have any questions along those lines of how to help them on given specific situations, please feel free to call and talk with us. We will be more than happy to discuss that process with you and give you advice as to what the policies and procedures are and how things we can make help to make sure that your students' experience here on campus is a success. And last is our commonly asked questions, some things that we kind of go over as a basic. One of the biggest pieces that we get is kind of along the lines of dates and things like that. A lot of our information could be found right here, as you see on the www.stleo.edu/residence or resources/residence-life. That will have, and that's our main page. That is all of our online resources. There's things in here from housing selection process to important dates, which is probably the biggest one that you'll want to see, and it is 6 down at the bottom, from the top on the left-hand column. This will give you everything from the housing agreement to early arrival forms, which students who are arriving for this coming year, one of our common questions is when can they arrive? August 21st is that answer, and that is also available online and is available to be seen there. So if you're an international student, your actual date is August 19th. If you need to come in earlier, we do make accommodations for that process. Please understand that there is an early arrival fee that does apply, which you can find in the online early arrival agreement. Additionally, we have all of our roommate and room change request forms, our request to terminate housing, if there's some issues that come up that are extenuating circumstances that we can work with. If your son or daughter is involved in any sort of administrative hearing for policy violation, there's an appeal form as well. And then at the very bottom is all of our important dates, which includes the RA information sections, floor meetings, the dates that those will be occurring, when the office is closed, when it's open, as far as classes go, sign-ups for winter break or in shuttles. So I mean, it really encompasses a lot of it, as well as when the residence hall is open and closed, which is a big important piece for when you're scheduling flights to and from the campus or trying to figure out when to pick up your daughter or son and going from there. So that's kind of one of the big pieces is online. If you haven't checked out our website, please go ahead and check that out. That does have a lot of information in there, as well as meeting the staff and different questions that we have there. Some other pieces that we kind of have is we have our social media, our www.facebook.com/St. Leo Res Life. which you can follow us there or follow us on Twitter at SLU Res Life. We do post things that are ongoing, especially when it comes down to housing selection, closing, opening, and different things along those lines. So big events, you can really follow us there. And then we post a lot of different events that the Residence Life office is participating in, hosting, so you can see what different types of events are going on and see what all is happening on a normal piece and a day-to-day thing that we go through from there. Another common piece that we come across is what to bring in the room and what not to bring. With the Residence Life office, and it's going to be standard in all facilities, is a standard twin bed, dresser, desk, chair, wardrobe, microwave, and mini fridge. That will be standard in every single room that we provide on campus. The mini fridge and microwave will be shared typically between 2 individuals when it comes to first-year housing. So those are pieces that you don't need to bring. One other piece is we do provide cable connection in the common space of the room. So if you do want to coordinate with your son or daughter's roommates, you could bring 1 or 2 TVs. However, there's only typically 1 connection that is available in that space. So that is part of that. Some other pieces that you don't want to bring would end up being hot plates, fire, candles, non-UL rated electrical connections. So make sure that you're bringing a surge protector that has the light and the switch, so if something happens, it will break that part as far as the electrical outlet and not create a safety or fire hazard for us and for your son or daughter, and going from there. So that is pretty much, and that covers everything that I have in a quick nutshell. I understand it was brief, but we can kind of go into answering any questions that you guys have that I didn't already touch upon. And again, the information on what to bring and what not to bring is available online as well at our website. So again, I'll encourage you guys to visit there.
Okay, so at this time, did we have any questions? Thank you so much, Sean. That was very helpful.
No problem.
Okay, and I'm just looking to see if we have any hands raised or any questions. One thing I noticed, and I'm new to St. Leo University as a staff member. It looks like this year you might be launching some living learning communities. Can you talk a little bit about what that's about?
Yeah, by all means. Last year we had initially implemented 2 living learning communities for upper class housing, our active living learning and our quality enhancement, our QEP, and service learning communities. Those will be coming back for a second year. We made some changes and adjustments to accommodate and get into some faculty collaboration to make it a little bit more curriculum based. So there is a tie with a class. And then 2 of our new communities, one specifically for freshmen is our academic excellence housing. It's more of a themed housing base. There are some requirements as far as getting into that process. So if you have an interest in that, please make sure that you talk with your admissions counselor to see if your son or daughter is eligible, because it is a academic excellence based GPA, SAT requirement for admission into that process. So it is a admission selection process to get into that. That will be housed in Alumni Hall this coming year. So again, if you're interested in that, please have your son or daughter contact their admissions counselor to express an interest and see what they need to do to get into that process if they're eligible. Additionally, we have a prayer and mindfulness community that will be coming online this year that was initiated by students and a faculty member. So we are excited to bring them on board and get them in their inaugural year to see how things go with that and go from there.
And could you talk a little bit about what the benefits would be of living in a living learning community versus
Sure.
a non-themed or living learning residence hall?
Yep. Yeah, by all means. One of the biggest benefits to living in a living and learning community is the sense of community and the ties for a common interest. whether it's providing service to the community in our service learning quality enhancement plan group, where they would go out to the community and do service projects together. So you really build that tight-knit bond with your roommates, your residents on that floor and in that community, because you have that shared similar interest. And you really do have that excitement and that passion, and you see that with others. So as you continue on and you grow, you really connect with those individuals to make those lifelong friends from college that you take on and you keep the rest of your life. So that's one of the biggest benefits. The other part is you really are able to get involved with the community in a different way. Depending on which activities and which community that you get involved in will dictate kind of what your involvement is and where it's at. But it doesn't matter, because no matter what, you're getting involved with the St. Leo community and the greater community as a whole, because all of our living learning communities will end up reaching outside of the St. Leo community to get involved. To give you guys, everyone an example, is last year, one of the neat things we did between the active living and the service learning as kind of a cohort is we did the Zombie Run 5K here on camp, or here in Dade City. Our active living learning community trained together to do that, as well as volunteered, and then was able to participate in that for free. And then our service learning community was able to volunteer their time for helping set up, encouraging runners as they went along, and helping clean up and tear down, everything like that. So again, there was a community involvement, not just here on campus, but off campus as well, to help out the greater community as a whole. And all the students who were in this community took part in that because they had an interest. They decided what they wanted to do. This was not something that was dictated by administration. It was student-driven, student-selected. So everybody took a part in it that was in that community and was able to really say, this is what we want to do as our big project for the year, and able to make that accomplish.
Okay, that's great. I actually do have a question from one of our attendees.
Sounds good.
Elizabeth would like to know, when students pick a roommate and go online and pick a dorm, when will they
Mm-hmm.
find out where they will be living?
We'll, as housing applications are due by July 3rd, we will be processing everything right around there for final selection. As we continue to get more students in, we will probably work through that a little bit sooner, but final notification will come in mid-July. And that will be the official notification from us to students and via email to their St. Leo email account. Once they're placed, they actually can go online as well under the My Account tab in the resident system and actually see where they're at and who they will be with even before we send out notification.
Great. So that's the benefit of taking the time and using that system. And
Yeah,
that's just new this year, correct?
correct. That is brand new this year. This is the first time we've had it, and we're going through it right now. So as the students come up with issues, we've identified them, and we put out hints and notifications as they go. So again, if there's something that students are experiencing or have questions, please call us so that we can help alleviate that issue, and then potentially put up a hint or a notification on the actual site, because you're probably not the only one having that same issue.
Okay. And another question is, this is from Eileen. She wants
Okay.
to know, can freshmen room in Benoit if they are not an athlete?
Yes, by all means. We do not have any reserved housing. It is a first come, first request basis. We try to do our best to honor first come, first serve in that manner. So the sooner that your son or daughter would like to request that, and they place a request in the system, we can utilize that to come and help and meet that request.
Okay, great. At this time, I'd like to ask the group if you guys could, those of you who have your hands up, if your question has been answered, could you click on it again to remove the hand? And now, if everybody who is a parent of a first year incoming student, an incoming first year student, that is, could you all raise your hand if that is your scenario? Okay, great. It looks like we have several of you on the webinar tonight, which is fantastic. One thing that I just wanted to take the time to ask Sean, since he was here, um, could you talk to, for first year students, what I know that homesickness and is a
Hmm.
natural part of the process. Could you
Yep.
speak to that and to parent and kind of give some advice, support, guidance, especially as a parent yourself, on maybe advice on how they might want to work with their student if they call home, especially those of you who may be sending them, thousands of miles
Yep.
away. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yep. No, definitely. I'll first start out with there's a number of different resources available here on campus to assist students from the professional staff here in the Office of Residence Life to help talk and work through issues like that, as well as our counseling staff here on campus. We have two licensed mental health counselors as well as a third individual who is in the process of obtaining it, who will probably have it by the end of this coming academic year. So we have a number of different resources there. And additionally, we have the RAs who are here on campus in the residence halls, and usually they're handpicked to go in that area because they have a personality that really does fit for helping students adjust and cope with that transition, because it is a big issue and a big concern. We really want students to be attentive to that piece, and that's why we hand select the RAs that are going into that area and go from there. One of the big pieces that really does help is getting students involved. The more that you sit around in a bedroom or in the room by yourself, the more that you feel alone and not a part of what's going on and a part of the campus community. So it's really, have you been to a soccer game? Have you been to a campus activity? Have you been to the dining hall? Have you sat with people? One of the neat pieces here, because we still are a small enough campus, is that staff, faculty, housekeeping, VPs all eat in the dining hall because that's all we have for one dining hall. So students can go in there and sit, and it's not uncommon to see a housekeeper, a VP, and a bunch of students sitting all on the same table talking and interacting. So it's really one of those pieces that have they put forth any effort to get involved. And again, that's where the RA comes in. If they haven't and you're concerned about that, let us know so we can actually have the RAs or staff reach out to them, try to help them cope with that piece and get along and get them connected to the resources, whether it's a Greek organization that they have an interest in or a student activities club or organization that they want to be a part of. There is a huge number of activity or clubs and organizations on campus that they can become a part of and develop those friendships through that, in addition to their roommate and their floor, and going from there. So I mean, really it's just about taking that first step and taking that chance to get out there and go from there. And again, this is a very welcoming community. It's one that I call my home, so no matter who it is, whatever it is going on, I really take that interest in making sure that students are able to adapt, adjust, and overcome, and help them through that process. And then as parents, kind of going through this is really encouragement, help push them through. The biggest piece is if they're sitting alone in their room, encourage them to get out. Encourage them just to go sit in the lobby instead, where students walk by. It's that sense of being out that really does help get over that first hurdle when it comes to dealing with homesickness and that part. So I mean, getting out, being a part of something, even if it's just hanging out in the lobby watching people play pool, somebody's going to talk with you when you're out there. So that's one of the big pieces that I really say is take that first step, encourage them, help them. If not, reach out to us so that we know so we can help them out.
Yes, that's very true, Sean. As I have a background in residence life as well, I was an RA and a residence director but that was a full-time position in at Fort Lewis College in Durango, Colorado. So I can certainly attest to the importance of getting them involved. And if they're if they're a little, you encourage and they're still not doing anything, that would probably be right the best time for them, for the
Yes.
parent to reach out to you, because that's what the RAs are really good at. So I would don't hesitate to do that. It doesn't seem like Sean would be more than happy to take that call and send the RA to, drop by and invite them along with them to go to an
Yep.
event. So
That's exactly what it is.
One thing also to speak to is, what about those parents who might live within the, not too far away, not so many miles away, so
Hmm.
that the students could go home on the weekends very easily because they have their own transportation or whatnot. What would you say? But maybe the students expressing that they're not adjusting to college life or they're homesick. What would
Right.
you suggest to them?
It would be, I mean, if it helps, I mean, granted, students who are thousands of miles away and students who are just up the road, there's a big difference as far as the ability to get off campus and go home or not. Um, but I would still encourage students who even live 20 minutes away to pick a weekend, know what's going on, and stay here, get involved, do something. So, I mean, and there's something going on every weekend, whether it's campus activities board, to a residence life programming, to a student activities program. There's always something going on. Pick something that you have an interest in. The calendars are posted throughout campus in the residence halls and the dining hall. Um, it tells you what's going on every week, every day, as far as activities, as well as the student activities calendar available online. So really find something that grabs your interest on a weekend and stay. Or if Senator Dara doesn't want to do that, excuse me, and they would like, you can want to reach out and do that for them. Hey, have you heard about this activity that's going on this weekend? Have you signed up for it? And give them a little bit of a heads up notice, because I mean, again, there's different trips that go on. I'm looking at the April-May calendar that's sitting on my desk, and we have a off-campus trip to Jersey Boys. Um, that was a $5 ticket for a entertainment piece. That included the trip, the tickets for there, and the ride there and back. So I mean, it really is a unique opportunity that you can do through that. We also do food for thought trips. Those are every Friday night, once a month, I believe is what it is. They go from different locations, and it's usually a different faculty or staff member. So again, it's really utilize the resources that you have online. Find the calendars online. Call our office saying, hey, my son or daughter's coming home to watch, or I feel they're coming home. What can we do to keep them on campus? And we'll be happy to work with you, try to find that interest, what we can do to keep them here, as well as just encouraging them. Say, hey, try staying one weekend, or try cutting back, only come home for Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday. That way they're here only one night versus the entire weekend. And really it's kind of that stepping stone to try to encourage students to make that adjustment. Whether it's quick or slow, it's just that process of making the adjustment.
Great. That's excellent advice. At this time, do we have any other questions from anyone on the panel? Or, I mean, any of the attendees? Feel free to either raise your hand or put a question in the question board. Okay, I'm not seeing any additional questions. Oh, one more just came through.
Sounds good.
Oh, this is Eileen, and she's asking, can you change the housing application once it has been submitted?
Contact our office. This way we can go in and reset it. Because once it's been submitted, we have to go in and manually take care of redoing that, but we are more than happy to do that. You just need to let us know so that we can take care of that.
Okay, great. Any other questions? I'm just pausing for a moment.
One big thing, the deadline for housing applications is July 3rd. So just as a reminder, again, the sooner that you do it, the better off you are. So if your son or daughter has not applied for housing yet, please encourage them to do so and go from there.
So the deadline for housing applications is July 3rd. Is that what you
Correct.
said?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And Sean, did you want to say anything to close out?
Sure. I mean, again, I appreciate everybody for taking the time out of their evening. I know it's a busy time, so that I really do appreciate everybody taking that time and asking the questions that you did. If you do have any other questions or additional comments or concerns, please feel free to contact the Office of Residence Life. Our number is 352-588-8268. Again, that's 352-588-8268. Or you can find us online and send any of us an email so that we're able to answer any questions that you may have and help you guys help your son or daughter have the most successful experience that they can here on campus.
And just to finish it out, I'm going to show the staff page for Sean and the Associate Director, KJ, and Regina. Okay. All right. Well, that concludes our presentation for the evening. Thanks again for everybody and for joining and your great questions, like I said, this evening. Thank you so much, Sean, for taking time out of your evening and away from your family to present this webinar for us tonight. It has been very informative, and I think I speak for everyone. I say it was very informative, and we appreciate it very much.
No problem. Thank you guys, and thank everyone for taking the time and asking the questions. Greatly appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.